So the last part I want to talk about with my golf bag is going to be the bottom end. So we're talking about the wedges and the putter. So we're going to start off with the Vokeys to get us going with. So I carry 2 wedges in the bottom end of my golf bag. Other than my pitching wedge, I carry a 56-degree Vokey and a 60-degree Vokey. So my 56-degree has got 14 degrees of bounce on it. Now, you're probably asking, why have I got so much bounce? Now, this is a club that I don't necessarily use in a bunker. I use it more for fuller shots, but also I use it for sort of pitching and chipping around the green. Now, I was a player that struggled with my chipping for a long, long time. I wouldn't say that I had the yips, but I was certainly someone that got a little bit anxious, and I would sort of start to lean that handle forward and get quite diggy on the shot. So that's why I ended up putting myself into a 14, a high degrees of bounce. This is for players that struggle with maybe just catching it a little bit chunky or coming in a little bit steep. This bounce is definitely going to help those players, and it certainly has helped me over the last sort of couple of seasons. And also you'll see that I'm using SM7, so I have not seen the new SM8 yet. We are not quite there on the release at this point. So when I move to the SM8, we've got a few different types of bounces and grinds that they've launched out for this year. So I'll be really, really interested to see what it offers. But at the moment, the 56-degree 14 bounce works perfectly for me. The second wedge I use is the 60-degree Vokey wedge again, SM7, and this time I've got it in an S grind, and it's the 10 degrees of bounce. Now, this is a club that I use more around in bunkers, so I would use this as my bunker club. Now, some would say, why are you using a 60-degree wedge in a bunker all the time when you've got maybe longer shots? But I find with this bounce that I'm able to work that bunker a little bit easier. Now, when I get into a bunker with lots of sand, you'll then see me move into my 56, which has got that extra bit of bounce to help that club stop digging into the sand too much. And this is something you need to be aware of as well. So if you're a player that struggles maybe with your bunker play where you start to take a little bit too much sand, or you play at a golf course where it's maybe a resort course or abroad where you've got lots of thick, deep sand, definitely look at possibly putting in a wedge that has a little bit more bounce. So some of you might be thinking, well, why is Dan not playing a gap wedge in there? He's got a 56-degree in one club and then a 60 in the other, and then he has his pitching wedge. Well, my pitching wedge is a 47 degrees, and the new set that I'm going into is also 47 degrees, so the jump between 47 to 56 is quite a bit. So I, in the past, have had gap wedges, but I feel like I've got too many options in there. I've got a 3/4 shot that I play with my pitching wedge, which goes my sort of 110 yardage, which is the perfect gap between my sand wedge, which is my 56, and my pitching wedge. Now, I would rather keep a little bit more at the top end of the bag because I'm playing maybe longer golf courses. I just then feel it's a lot easier when I get down to the shorter stuff to manipulate the clubs a little bit better. So the only time you'll see me using the 60-degree wedge around the greens is when I'm in a lot of trouble. So this shot here now where I've got no green to work with, I've got to go up and over a bunker, then you'll start to see me use my 60. But for basic chip shots around the green, you'll start to see me use my 56 a lot more than what you will with my 60. And again, the reason for that is because I've got a little bit more bounce on this club, I just feel a little bit more confident that the club is not going to dig in too much for me, and I've got a little bit of soul there just to help that club bounce into the ground a little bit more and help pop the ball up for me. So the other thing that you'll see with my wedges is that I've got a Project X, but it's a 5.5 steel shaft, so it's in my irons I use a 6.0, which is the stiffer version, but then I've got a slightly lighter version in my wedges. Again, it came down purely to a feel point of view for me. I just wanted something just to feel a little bit softer in my hands, and the 5.5 just gave me that little edge over that. We're using the same grips right the way through the irons and into my wedges, so I want to keep that consistency of feel when I'm playing my shots. Last but not least, the putter. Okay, 2018 Newport 2 Select model by Scotty Cameron, Titleist. 2 degrees flat. I've still got the original grip, which is, to be fair, a little bit worn now, but the problem is I'm quite a superstitious golfer. So when it comes to changing the putter grip, I found it really, really hard to make that jump to put a new grip on. I putt quite well with this putter, and I don't really want it to change, so I'm gonna have to hold on to it for a little bit longer. So we've got the little line on the back of this one as well. Again, it doesn't go all the way onto the top rail, but certainly that line just helps me when I use the line on the golf ball to line that putt up a little bit easier. So at 34 inches in length, it's just about finding a putter for me that when I hang my hands down, that I've got something that's comfortable. At 35 I would start to stand upright a little bit too much, and at 33 I'd start to sort of stoop over the ball a little bit too much, which in turn, when I tested, did actually change my path a little bit. When I was standing upright too much, at 35 my path was moving more around in more of a sort of a semicircle, and when I was more over the ball, my putter started to go back almost a little bit too square. I like to see a slight little bit of toe flow in the putt, and this 34-inch length just helps me produce that. So the last little bit I want to talk about is the weight in the bottom of my putter. So for this putter I've got 20 grams weights either side here. Now when you're getting custom fit for this particular range, at 33 inches you would tend to have the 20 gram weights. At 34 you'd move to 15 gram weights, and in 35 you'd have 10 gram weights. Now that's just to do with the counterbalancing of the putter, but from a feel point of view I just wanted a little bit more weight when I was hitting that putt. So this putter is still going to stay in my bag. What I am excited about though is to see the new range coming out by Scotty Cameron, which we've got now a few weeks from when this video is shot to when the new one launches, so I'll be really interested to see what the Newport 2 is looking like in that range. So if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, give that bell a little ring as well if you want to get some notifications, more videos coming your way, and give us a thumbs up if you like this video. What I also want to see is what's in your golf bag. Put your comments down below. I want to hear what you have to say. We look forward to catching up with you again soon.